Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumb. Can you hear me? Right. Awesome. I'm about to put us, I think I'm already on. So I'm going to add you to the stream now. There we go. Love technology.
No doubt.
Always the best. So look at you guys. Where are you guys right now?
We're in our backyard.
That's amazing. You know, it's not really, you know, like the city or state. It's more of just the kind of the presence that you're in. So we are driving right into it. Olaf, Paula, thank you guys so much for jumping on GallantFew Leader Chats with us today. Mm-hmm. Talking about a subject that I love, going on adventures, and I've loved following you guys and just seeing about your your gear reviews and your adventures in your overlanding vehicle and your real estate stuff. So I'm stoked to have you guys on here. This is the first time we've kind of had a dynamic duo. So thank you, Paola, for joining us. And forgive me, am I saying that right? I feel like, all right, good. I like to get that straight. So Olaf, you guys, I want to start with you. Sorry, Paola, I'm going to be kind of heavy on Olaf for a second, but just bring us up to speed. You know, Boy Scout, Army, teacher, real estate. You know, let us know give us you in a nutshell.
Yeah, I was thinking about. I wasn't sure exactly how far back you guys wanted to go. It probably started with my mom and dad. They're probably the ones that created the monster. But you know, my dad was kind of, you know, he's German and my mother's Mexican, and so my dad was kind of a survivalist. You know, always wanted to be prepared and things like that. So he kind of brought me up that way. And my mom, she's just tough. she's Mexican. She's hardcore. I mean, you know, growing up,
so you ate very good.
I ate very good. You know, I was a fat kid named Olaf. You know, so I found myself in a lot of conflict out on the street, you know.
Of course.
With the kids and, you know, playing and all that stuff. So.
And where did you grow up?
In Southern California,
okay.
Los Angeles County.
Got it.
Okay. More towards Los Angeles.
Gotcha.
And Cerritos and basically LA County.
Gotcha.
But, you know, kids are kids and, you know, stuff. You get into squabbles on the street. And that kid named Olaf got the short end
of front of it. Yeah, I hear you.
Quite a bit. So, you know, I learned how to fight, and then eventually they put me into self-defense, taekwondo, and, you know, things like that. Kind of a mix. I guess what I was doing then was what they call mixed martial arts.
Okay. Yeah. They just threw it. They mixed it all up. They just threw it at you. You know, it was all like confidence building. I feel like that was the biggest part of it.
So, you know, it was one of those things. I think that's where it all started, and just with them, and, you know, me running into the house and not wanting to confront the problems, and my mom kicking me back out onto the street to stand up for myself, you know, stuff like that.
Right. And so how involved were you in Boy Scouts? Like, I can say I did Boy Scouts, but I didn't do Boy Scouts. I was in it for like 2 months, and then they didn't go outside enough for me, so I dropped it. But were you like a 5th degree Eagle Scout or something?
No, nothing like that. Actually, unfortunately, the troop disbanded before I was able to hit that. And
wow,
it was a great experience. I mean, it was a backpacking troop. It wasn't a camping. You know, there were some, I guess, troops that were car campers, and we were backpackers. And so we got out, and that was really, you know, kind of taught me a lot about outdoors and hiking, camping, survival, you know, things like that. So that was my introduction to that side of things. I had a great time. Unfortunately, you know, when the Scoutmaster's kids are done and no one wants to take over, you know.
Yeah, that's a big one. We're kind of seeing that. My son is in Cub Scouts. He's in the Arrow of Light. He's about to do the bridge over, and you see that a lot. But there is a troop around here that's got dudes that like their kids are like in their 30s and they still do it, and they love being a volunteer for the Scouts around here. I'm really excited that my son's involved in it, and that this troop actually does like trips. My troop was a gaming troop, so that's what steered me the other way, which is cool.
Yeah,
so
our Scoutmaster, he stayed with it. I think his kids graduated from college, and that's as long as he stuck with it, and then that was it.
Gotcha. Okay, so now fast forward, now in military, where does that come into play? Is that before being a teacher, after being a teacher?
That was before, and that was something I said I'd never do. I mean, I grew up thinking about it, how cool it was, and you see the commercials and this and that, and so went ahead and signed up and did that, and that, I was thinking about this talk and the relevance of the military, and obviously the organization GallantFew and all that stuff, and the transition. And I think the two biggest things that I took from the military was, one, I never thought I could push my body as hard as I did.
Yeah.
Like mentally, you're in a different place. And so that made me mentally stronger. And then the other thing that I think I took away from it was that I've never had friends in civilian life as close as the bonds that were created during that time.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
So those were the two things that I took from it. There's things I didn't like.
As with everything.
As with everything in life, there's and I don't want to dwell too much on that.
Yeah, no, and that's cool. I mean, and that's the point of it. I mean, like I'm thankful that you just went ahead and answered that question, because that was kind of like, what's your takeaways from your military experience? And truly, it was such a mustard burp in my life, of just this momentary tangy part of it that has moved on and has helped me, like in times of trials, I do reach back into some of those mental fortitude aspects, but it was such a small experience of my life that it's just like, yeah, I served in the military. So what next are we going to talk about, kind of thing, or what are we going to do next, kind of thing?
Well, no, it is. Yeah. Well, I'm going to be 52 this year, so I'm old.
Yeah.
Right? In the scheme of.
You worry about that, Paul? Are you okay? Is he just going to like drop dead at any second?
But I mean, when you think about when you were 18, you think 30 is
it.
Woo, that's a long way away, let alone 50. I mean, you are done, right?
Right.
And I think about in military age and progression. I mean, I'm ancient,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it is kind of what you said. It is it's just one of those things that I did in my life, and it was important. But I think it's, if you were there and you were in the military, then I think that you took away what you took away, you did what you did. I think it's more interesting to people who have not been in the military. I don't advertise it too much.
Yeah.
There are subtleties of where, I'll put some things in and they're very subtle.
Sure.
If people ask me about it, I'll answer questions. But in the end, it really is, it was just like my parents taught me certain things, my father, my mother, how they pushed me, how they just brought me up, basically. And then, some of the other things, like I said, Boy Scouts. I mean, I went to UCLA. Obviously, that gave me some education and a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And that taught me how to think. Well, maybe more so probably how to ask questions.
Okay. That's a good answer. I like that.
How to ask questions. And the military pushed me harder physically and mentally than anything I've ever done. And I made some really close bonds that, you know, I still have today. Um, and but I spent a lot of time after, you know, after that I got out of the military and I became a teacher. Cause I needed money.
Yeah, got to do something,
So
right?
I started out substitute teaching, and then I got a
So you
long-term.
so you went in the military, and then when you got out, you came back home. You went back to California.
Yeah.
Like, okay, got it. So
And I didn't have enough of the military at that time, so I went back into well, at that time it was reserve, and then it changed to National Guard.
Okay.
So I did that for a while. Obviously Army,
Right.
Because I guess there was something about that maintaining a connection for
sure. Still serving. You still wanted to serve, and you found a way that you could do it and make a little bit of cash too.
Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't that much cash at that time.
Sure.
But you know, and I actually had aspirations about going back in. I was that close to going into it was the I guess at that time it was 19th Special Forces Group. Like I had a paragraph and line number, and they had processed me. But at that time, I had already started working in real estate, basically working for my mom.
Yeah.
Helping my mom. So I was already kind of in that civilian track, and I let go of the aspirations to go any further in the military, and I said, sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So I stuck with the unit that I was in, and continued on in teaching during the day and real estate in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then, you know, one day I got called into the office at the school I was teaching, and you know, when I I was a camp counselor in for Unicamp at UCLA.
Okay.
Their official charity. I'm still
yeah.
So I got to give it a plug.
No, that's awesome. That's great to hear you serving like that. No, I'm really.
And if you want done it, so at that time, you know, I had done philanthropic stuff with kids.
Yeah.
And so when I used some of those techniques and things I learned there when I became a teacher, and I would allow my kids to make their own kind of peer level rules and
awesome
punishments for those rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to follow it more so than if I go ahead and impose my, you know, illegitimate force on them, right?
Yep. So, looking for the. Yep. I know.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I would make them, you know, if they did something wrong in class, then the agreement that they had come up with was they had to stand at part of the room and, you know, with their hands up, or if they were stronger, hold a couple books, you know, push-ups, things like that. So anyway, my one of my students got in trouble in another class, and the teacher sends that student up to the office, and I guess that student mops off and said, "Why can't you be like Mr. Kilthau and just do this?" That got back to the principal.
Yes.
The principal didn't, you know, called me out of my classroom into her office, and began to let me know that it was not my job to discipline the kids. It was their job to discipline the kids. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not here to babysit. If I send them to you, you do nothing. And you send them back to me with a little slap on the wrist, and then they have less respect for me. I can't control my class. I can't teach.
Yeah.
So then that didn't go over so well.
Yeah, I would say.
And so she said, no, you will follow my direction. And I said, no, you can take this job. And, you know, I told her. And so that was your forced resignation and full-time movement into real estate, eh? Those defining moments, right? Yeah, exactly. And at that time, you know, my real estate was not generating income. So it was a pretty 6 months of no income.
Yeah, I would say ramen. Yeah.
Surviving that. So
Right on.
Yeah, and so that was that defining moment.
Okay. Well, I feel like and this is when I met her moment is coming up, and I don't want to leave Paul out, but because your backstory is just as important because it brought you to the same point to suddenly meet him. So if you can, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Just kind of give us a short, this is how my childhood was spent, just to kind of see how you guys came together.
So I'm from Colombia.
Uh-huh.
I came when I was 18, 20 years old, and I started learning English, and I went again to school.
And did you come from Colombia on your own? Like your parents stayed or in?
My dad was living. He actually was living.
Okay, gotcha.
So I came and I lived with my dad.
Okay, great. Okay.
I learned English. Well, I learned English.
Yeah.
And what else? I live in Tampa in Florida. Then I live in New York for I'm not sure, like a long time. And then we met doing off-road.
Yeah.
So my mom and my dad, most of my mom was very strict, and she was always very strong. So I'm more like how can I say, like I like to do different stuff that regular.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I kind of like to do different stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
They tell me, oh, let's go camping. Okay, let's go off-road. Okay, let's go do different things. Okay, let's try. So,
and do you think, and so it's not like you were a child when you moved here, where there was where you had such an adolescent perception of home, and now you're coming to a new country. You're an adult. You have existed in this country for 18 years, and now you're moving to a new country. Like, what was the experience of coming here at that point?
Well, it was difficult, and especially because you can communicate with people.
Yeah.
You want to learn to understand, and it was a good experience because I worked in a lot of things. I met a lot of people. I realized that I can do things by myself, that I don't have to be, at home and
relying on someone else.
Yeah.
Man, he stole the words out of my mouth. Yep. No, and that's great. And I think that like comfort is why I think what you were trying to say is that you're open to do these awesome and exciting adventures, which makes a great combination because I'm the noodle thrower in my family and my wife's the really practical one. And, I plan these, used to plan these crazy adventures and she'd be like, and thankfully rope us in on a lot of them because we probably wouldn't be here if we had gotten the thumbs up. It seems like you guys have a little bit more dialed in on the good, safe vacation ideas. So I want to hear about this, like how you guys actually met, because it sounds like it was an my wife. We met in a very unlikely place. We met in Costa Rica on a conservation effort. So please, how did that happen?
You were doing some type of. I read something a long time ago. Well, a long time ago, quite a while ago.
7 years now. It's been 7 years.
You were. I remember seeing pictures of a boat, and something to do with. I don't know if it was.
We'll just say it was a TV show. It was a reality show. It was like a spinoff of Whale Wars, where we went to Costa Rica and we busted a bunch of guys. We busted people shark finning, illegal turtle egg poaching, gold mining, it was a cool experience. I'm actually still surprised that I actually lived through the entire experience, just because we did some really dumb stuff on the show. Like, I did a night dive into an active harbor, only having did 2, rebreather dives in my life beforehand. Some really get done with it. Like, Bryce, I don't think you should have done that, kind of thing. So thank you for.
Sounded pretty interesting.
Yeah, plug. It's on Amazon if you'd like to watch it. It's called The Operatives.
You're gonna have to check that out.
If you guys have nothing to do on a Friday night and you're willing, if you want some laughs, watch season 1 of The Operatives. It will make your morning.
Cool.
Yep. So you guys, how did you guys meet?
We actually met off-roading.
Yes.
We were in the same place at the same time, and kind of from opposite ends of the country.
Okay. Like off-roading is in like overlanding, not like four-wheelers and doing stuff. When like, help me, what kind of off-roading?
Oh, yeah, no, I guess that's true. There's different kinds of off-roading.
Yes, there are.
This is, it was more like rock crawling.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured because I follow you and I see the pictures and places you've gone and done. So I just wanted to make sure people realize it wasn't you guys were like passing on four-wheelers in Cancun like, hey, you know, it was rock crawling. It was something really fun.
Yeah, that's nice. No, we were actually in Missouri. And
okay.
we were doing a multi-day, it was a multi-day trip.
Gotcha.
Actually, and I was one of the guides. And
where in Missouri?
Say again?
Where in Missouri?
Oh, Hannibal.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's just like a big rock garden, like
actually, no.
Okay.
The Mississippi River. Yeah, Hannibal is right on that was our starting point. And that's where Mark Twain was born.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that, but in Mississippi,
up around there, and it's right on the Mississippi, and so we were off-roading in private parks or private land.
Oh, okay.
Up to several different states, and that was a starting point. So
and so like, did these places have like a trail set up, or are you just trying to find mud to just sink your vehicles in, like, or are you just trying to find things to crawl over? Like, is it
organized group and they rent or they make arrangements with people in private lands that they have like nice trails, but they were
okay.
Nobody else was there. So,
yeah.
So they were like, I would say like medium to very difficult. Like a lot of accidents, a lot of parts,
carnage, damage.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds. I mean, and that's the cool part, you know. I mean, and it's like it's this layer deep that I hear from, like, it's not just you're like trespassing on somebody's land and mud bogging and doing nonsense like that. Like somebody is on Google Maps, like scanning and being like, ooh, that place looks dope. Hey, who owns this? Like, can we come and bring Jeeps and this stuff?
And then, the guy that puts it together, he did a reconnaissance and visited, he visited different places and checked them out. And then it was all private. Like I said, private lands, but also it was all nobody knew exactly where we were going each day.
Oh, that's sick.
So it was a really, really good event. It was 9 days, 10 days, something like that.
Yeah.
Started there, went across to Ohio, and then we worked ourselves back Missouri, South, Arkansas.
Wow, that's dope.
Ended up in doing some wheeling. We did a little bit of mud wheeling in the bayou in Louisiana.
Well, that makes sense down there. I mean, that's all there is mud.
Yeah,
there's no rocks down there.
and then ended up in New Orleans, and then and so
wow, that's quite a trip.
Yeah, that was
quite. So you guys met. You had a flat tire, and she come and helped you change it, right?
Yes, something like that.
That's awesome. No, and that's cool. Like, that's just like you said, from totally different worlds, and you collided in this one event, and now it seems that you guys are on parallel paths. And so now, what's the ideal adventure for you guys these days?
Oh, it's hard to say ideal.
What's their average? What's your go-to? It seems like you guys kind of have a go-to.
Like, I think we try to find good things, or like the best of everything that we do. If we go to the beach, we enjoy going to the beach. If we go hiking, if we go off-roading, if we go overlanding, we always try to hiking. We like hiking. Well,
and you have one of those trailers, right? You have one of the it's like a pop-out kind of thing with a kitchen. Didn't I see you had something like that?
No, that's probably a friend of mine.
Okay, you might have been like showing one off or something, but okay.
Probably a friend of mine.
Those things are cool.
Deal with, you know, all the adventure trailers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they're called.
They come by different names. They have like a pintle style hook, and so they really, you know, they rotate.
Right.
Them off all kinds of different.
Yeah. Yeah. They basically look like miniature air conditioned coffins with kitchens that slide out of them. Like,
yeah, some of them. Yeah, some of them are pretty fancy.
We see them a lot. So, you know, I spend a lot of time at a campground up in Pilot Mountain area now, helping, you know, basically living there, helping. But that teardrop trailers are becoming a thing again, and there's a company right down the street, Rustic Trails, that makes them. And some of their models are literally like a coffin on two wheels. Like, you literally just get in this thing and sleep, you know. And like, to me, that's cool because I'll take everything else nature-wise, but I really want somewhere comfortable to sleep at night. So if it's just this little box, hey, that's fine with me. It doesn't need to have a bunch of bells and whistles. But
some are pretty fancy.
Oh, so, I mean, and even the teardrops that a car can tow. They have this Kodiak Elite model that's like really awesome. It's got a double bed in it that folds up into things and a couch and like an awning. I mean, it's so crazy, and they're backed up like 10 months orders wise. Like, it is the hot thing right now.
Yeah, we used to own an off-road park in outside of Moab, Utah, and it was 320 acres.
Wow!
And owned that for about 10 years.
Holy moly!
And we had basically it was that was another really great experience, you know, in our lives, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely a defining experience.
Yeah. Why? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, you know, you get to a point where real estate and the hobbies came together.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy says to me, "Hey, let's go to Moab. Let's go to Moab." And this is back in like 2003.
Right.
Let's go to Moab. And I'm like, okay. You know, I didn't want to take off work, so I was reluctant. So went there, did some trails, loved it. If you haven't been to Moab,
yeah, I need to get out there. I've fallen in love with it ever since the first Red Bull Rampage, which coincidentally it was right around that same time, 2002-3 time frame, I think.
Yeah, in fact, those guys contacted us a couple times to see about doing the event on our property.
Oh wow! No way.
Yeah, but you know, those guys do crazy stuff, right? So they come out and they look at it, and they're like, "Well, you know, the property's great, but you don't have really good places to land."
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, you guys jump off cliffs.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's really funny.
They do those mainly in like Cedar City now or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
those first ones. I remember just some of the gaps they were shooting on that. And I mean, that like technology has gone crazy since, even in bikes. So to think about what they were doing it on then, like Cameron Zink hitting freaking 80-foot freaking gap on the downhill bike, like this makes my palms sweat.
No, I remember when this guy, yeah, I'm with Red Bull Rampage. We wanted to, you know, we're looking for a place to do an event. And I'm like, I didn't know what Red Bull Rampage was. So I thought, wow, you know, these guys are crazy. You know, people think that off-roading in a Jeep,
yeah,
all this stuff is crazy. That's nothing.
Nothing compared to sponsoring a guy going up into the stratosphere and jumping out of a weather balloon. Yeah. You know, geez.
So yeah, so went to Moab and fell in love with it. Went back again twice, I think, that same year. Ended up buying a house there, a piece of land, and building a house, and then met some guys that basically were also enthusiasts, and you know, the whole premise of it was called Area BFE. The whole premise of it was
awesome. That's a great name, by the way.
Was to maintain a place where people could go because there was so much pressure to close trails down and close lands. And going back to how we met,
yeah,
you know, when you go east of Texas, there really isn't public land that you can go off-roading or, that kind of activity.
Uari. If I think about it, in North Carolina, Uari is about the only public land you can do that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, almost everything is private. So west of Texas, there's a lot of open space. However, there's so much pressure from what I call preservationists who want, they basically want to maintain, the dirt in its natural state and don't want you walking on it, don't want much less driving on it or anything like that. So there was a lot of that going on in Utah and Moab. And so these guys, 6 of us came together and bought this property. And then, as time went, we consolidated ownership and I became the manager and did that I was manager for about 10 years, something like that.
Wow.
And it was great. We had events, we had races, we had club events, races, corporate events, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Was a major brand partner and did events out there. And then it was great. 320 acres, which across the country, if you go to different places, 320 acres is kind of small, but it's still a pretty good sized piece.
Yeah. No, I think you can do a lot with 320 acres, especially since the campground I'm on is 100 acres, so I can only conceptualize 3 of them would be awesome to ride around.
It was a rectangle, a half section, half mile wide by a mile deep.
Okay.
And, varying terrain. We had established varying degrees of trails on, difficulty, anything from mild to wild.
Yeah, mild to wild. That's great. Gosh.
Yeah, it was.
Watch out. That's coming. I'm making that a shirt. I'll give you the proceeds.
It was great experience. I mean, I learned so much, met so many great people, and then I sold my part to my partner, and
And it's still going on. I mean, this place still exists.
It's closed now.
Oh,
I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it at this point, but we had it open to the public, which was for free. So you come and go as you pleased. You were on your own honor. We didn't charge an entry fee. We asked people for donations. There was a donation box at the front. When we had events and things going on, we would be there. I would be there with basically another partner who was more involved.
Okay.
Physically involved in it. And then introduce ourselves, and and it was great. It's just like one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
I've met people all around the country.
It sounds like you got it was like a good cycle. It seems like ideas like that, experiences like that, sometimes people hold on to them too long, and then it turns into like, God, I hate this. And then that's all they remember from those experiences. And so it's good to hear that it kind of froze for a sec. Uh-oh. Still with me? We may be experiencing technical difficulties. So maybe the power went off in California. Well, while we wait for them, Sarah Bonner, Katie Hoover, hope you're still watching. Hope you've enjoyed our conversation so far. GallantFew Leader Chats. You guys have any questions? You guys have any requests of people that we should get on here? Well, still waiting on them. Vet Expo, we're going virtual this year. So stay tuned for information about that. We're going to have speakers going live. Just because we can't meet in person doesn't mean we can't get together and still help each other through that expo. So, yeah, they just popped over, so hopefully they'll recycle in a second. Let's see. on momentarily. We'll be right back. And we're back. There we go. Hey, technology is great.
Yeah, it's good until it's not.
Yeah, I mean, this is the forgiving aspect of social media. Thank goodness that this is not my full-time job, because if it was, I would have been fired a long time ago.
Oh no!
But it's cool. Like programs like this, like we were using Zoom, and it stopped working. Now it apparently works again. But the StreamYard programs, it's just really easy. So, all right, well let's pick it back up. Now you guys have met each other. It sounds like you guys have crafted this wonderful life together of adventure. So, I follow you on Instagram. I'm going to put up their Instagram handles here in a second, but I advise anybody that's into adventure, especially doing it with your spouse, to follow them as well. How's that dynamic been for you guys?
It's good.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Like, it's great.
we work well together.
Awesome.
She adds a whole component that I just don't have the capacity for. There's a certain creativity, like I can do something. Like if somebody says, "Hey, can you come in and prep my house for sale?" Sure. Yeah, I'll go in and say, "Hey, you know what? This needs to be fixed, or this needs to be cleaned up, or this, this and that." But she goes in and has a whole different eye. Just adds a whole different component. We just have a much higher level of service when we're working together than I ever had when we were, when I was doing real estate on my own.
So did you get into real estate because he was into it? Like, it wasn't something you were doing beforehand, right?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. I fall in love. I like it. Like being with him and seeing him. And we usually do everything together. And we thought, well, we don't work together. And I started studying, and we started doing work together. And it looks like we're doing good. We don't want to kill each other.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you provide this alternative kind of outlook on the property, because I can understand, let's just put that there, or why doesn't this house sell with any furniture, kind of thing. And like the balance that it seems like you guys have, that's really cool. That you literally have like your own interior decorator is on your real estate staff. So you are very lucky, and that's cool that it drives together, because that's important. You're selling an experience. You're trying to remove enough of the person that lives there in the home, but not so much that it looks like nobody lives there. And that's a really tough thing to do. And especially, it doesn't sound like you're selling $150,000 homes. It sounds like you sell homes that are a little bit more expensive than that. So it's even more important to create the kind of adventure of the home, if you will.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, we Southern California is an interesting place, because you can be on the coast where there's homes that are, homes, condos that could be, $500,000 on up to whatever, right? But then you go, I would say 20 miles inland, almost straight shot inland, and you can buy a bigger property for half that price.
Right.
And obviously it's not on the coast, and so it's a really very, there's just a huge price differential in Southern California depending on where you go.
Yeah, I would say the same thing happens here in North Carolina on the especially on the islands. You could have a mansion next to a trailer, you know. So
yeah, and it is that way. I mean, our market is probably on the low end side, like an entry level condominium apartment here is maybe 350 to 400,000 on a like a 2-bedroom type of condominium, and then it goes up from there. So we have a property that just came on the market in a town called Temecula. Temecula is inland, and it's famous for its wineries and stuff like that.
Indeed.
And so we put this house, and this house is a big house. It's a really nice house. And if we were to put that more closer to the coast, that house would be easily $2 million, something like that. And it's going for 610. So there's a huge variation in price.
And now I've heard this on the radio that the housing market's going pretty good, positive right now. Is that the case? Like, has COVID hurt you or helped you?
Last year was a healthy market, and the first couple months of this year, maybe 2.5 months of this year, was a healthy market. And then obviously COVID came and things slowed down to almost nothing for about 1.5 months, 2 months. And so that hurt us.
Yeah.
And I knew that this was, short term, and I knew the real estate market wasn't going to be hurt long term. I just didn't think it was going to be as crazy as it is right now. I mean, we have a lot of challenges with people who want to buy property. We had a conversation with a client this morning who has a fairly high level of being discouraged, and trying to motivate them and keep them positive. And we've had to adapt to the competition in the market, and that's just been it's been tough. And I've been doing this.
For us, it's more work.
It's more work. It's more effort. I've been doing this a long time. And
so it sounds like people are getting out, like your clients are getting outbid and by these bigger players and stuff. Yeah, I know that feeling. And it's kind of funny. The house that I live in now, when we made an offer, I was like, this is going to get outbid in a second. And my wife did a really awesome cover letter. And that's what got us this house, which was awesome. So I can kind of understand those challenges and that discouragement, because before this we had looked at like 12 houses and got outbid on all of them, and then I was just kind of like, screw it, let's just stop looking. And then we were like in Boone or something, she like showed me this, what do you think of this one? I'm like, holy crap, yeah, why not? I was like, yeah, let's put an offer in it, why not? We're just gonna get another loss. And they accepted it. It was like, oh crap, yes. Oh crap, we got to move now.
Yeah, you just have to have faith that the right house will come at the right time. And we don't pressure our clients. If it's the first house, great. If it's the 50th or 100th house, then it is what it is.
House number 5. I'm on house number 5 now. So I know that feeling. I built the first one, so started good. But yeah, and it's unfortunate. I had, when I moved to Raleigh, the person that USAA hooked me up with to like buy a new home turned out to be an awesome real estate agent, and I ended up buying 2 other pieces of property from her. But then she stopped doing real estate, and it's just like, no.
Yes.
Please just do it for me. I'll pay for your license. I don't care. We
offer all kinds of service. I mean, even my business over the years has transitioned. It changes because of the market. Sometimes it's like right now, it's a seller's market.
Yeah.
Sometimes it changes the other way and it's a buyer's market. And so everything evolves, and you have to adapt to it.
That's right.
You just have to make sure that whatever you do, you're I don't know, I guess you're just adapting and moving and not staying still. Because if you try to use the same methods as before, you're just going to get, I guess, become obsolete or unsuccessful, or
call your pants down. I mean, for somebody that's been in the real estate market for a while, you're accustomed to dry spells. I'm sure. And it's that prior planning that you have of monetary, funding. Just because you got a fat commission check, it wasn't like, desert rich, baby. It's like, hey, I might not get paid for 2 months because of the dry spell. And that's, I have a few friends in real estate, and some are new, some have been in for a little while, and the new ones, I always love them because they're so motivated, and this is the best thing ever. And I'm like, let me see in 2 or 3 years, if you're still doing real estate, then I'll know you've made it. Like you will have survived the gauntlet of
when you're, the blessing when you're new is that you're excited and you have a lot of energy, and that'll push you, and that's good. But there's nothing that beats experience, and that's the difference between, I spent the first 5 years in real estate trying to figure things out, and my first year in real estate, they said I was number 9 or number 10 in the company. And I don't know, it was over like 200 some agents. And I'm thinking, and I knew what I did that year.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the hell did these other people do?
Yeah. I'm not. Holy crap.
I didn't think I did that much. And I remember, it was in December, and I distinctly remember thinking, oh my God, I have to do this all over again next year, And so it took about 5 years to really get a rhythm and to understand and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then going through different cycles, I tell you, earlier you mentioned something about in tough times having to look back at that,
military experience,
and having that intestinal fortitude to get through something, right?
Yes.
And I tell you what, in the down markets, like when I started real estate, the market was going down.
Best time to start.
Friends that were saying, "Oh, well, why are you getting in now?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, it just is. I have to. I quit teaching.
Right. Yeah.
Jump in. It is what it is." And the market went down, and I remember that environment. People on the phone crying to help me save their home from foreclosure. And so, I got good at doing these things called short sales, and very successful. And then, and helping people, it was a lot of work. And then the market went up. And then in the mid 2000s, 2007, 2006, 7, 8, 7 and 8, everything just fell apart. And I thought I knew a down market because I started in a down market.
Yeah.
I didn't have any clue as to, that down market was something, and I had to dig deep. One of the things that you talked, going back to kind of, I guess, the purpose of this talk about transitioning and civilian life and being successful and all that. When we grow up, they don't teach us that failure is part of the process to success.
Yeah.
They say, make a goal, achieve a goal. Make a goal, achieve a goal. Make a goal, achieve a goal.
Yeah.
They also, and there's this fear of failure. And we deal with that with our daughter. In some cases, that she has a fear of not doing something right. And it kind of staggers or now stymies her progress, right? Because she's afraid to fail. So that's one thing. The other thing that's important that no one ever taught me, and I had to learn this on my own at an adult age, was when somebody knocks the entire chair from out under you, how do you not lose everything you've worked for?
Yeah.
How do you how do you take the steps back so that when things get better, because they do get better, how do you restructure so that you can be even more successful later? And that's a tough one, man. And I had to dig deep. I'm telling you, I had to dig deep when all that started falling apart. And what do you let go of? What do you keep? What do you what moves are you supposed to make so that you can become so that you don't, I don't know, so that you don't disappear, so
Sure.
that you don't, so that you can put
food on the table. Yeah.
So that you can, just the basics in life.
It's a squeeze. I mean, it's just
it was one of the biggest challenges, mental challenges that I've had in my life.
Because this is at a time when you have a child already, right? Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not just thinking, how am I going to survive, but how are we going to survive?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
more people in the boat.
What are you supposed to do? How are you? I tell you, I think back to those times, and I think, man, how did I get through it? And how do we get through it? And and I have to say, and maybe I'm also, because I've lived through it, and because I know maybe I'm just at a point where I'm more mature. I have more experiences under my belt, lived longer. I tell you what, I appreciate life a lot more than I did before.
Heck yeah.
I had to let go. At that time, we had like, I don't know, 3 houses. I had like a couple motorcycles. We had I had cars, stuff like that. And I had to get rid of everything.
Yeah. So freeing.
Oh, I tell you what, man, I felt so free after that.
Yeah.
I felt so light, so free. I thought, all of that time prior to was like acquiring, make money, acquire. And I felt so liberating.
Yeah.
To let go of everything.
Yeah, because it just opens the door for now you to be able to acquire these memories, through your adventures, and when and you realize when you don't have things that are weighing you down, like tangible things that, like, the biggest thing for me right now is having a house that has a huge 1 acre yard that I have to mow every week. That I don't have goats to walk around here and do it, so I have to be home at least once a week to mow this yard because I can't afford to pay somebody to do it because of the lifestyle I choose to live. And so it's those like shedding. I'm stoked. Like, I have dialed my kind of kits, my camping and adventure kits, into the old black tough boxes, and like it's just great to just shed those things that are unimportant, and because it opens the door to be able to do other things. And then you realize how the important pieces of gear, the multitaskers and different stuff like that, where you're like, I can't get rid of this because it serves like 7 different purposes. So you get to stay.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's why we have the life that we have. We work hard, and so that we have, the money, and we make the time.
Yes. You don't have to make the money to make up for it that you spent already. You've been smart, and time, which is more valuable than that, is available to you to do the things that you want.
Like, we just got back last night from a nice trip in Florida.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked really fun.
We spent a lot of time just sitting right on the beach and fishing and all that, and that was awesome.
So it sounds like you guys take kind of a lot of different various types of adventures as well. So and you guys are a bit of gear. You do gear reviews, so you guys get different stuff. What is your number one or like top 3 things that go on most of your trips outside of like toothbrush or BS things like that? Like, what are the top 3 things that you're like, this always goes with me?
I guess one is a multi-tool.
Okay. Any particular brand or type? Cricket or?
Oh, I think the one I have is a Leatherman.
Okay. So obviously that's getting packed in your luggage if you're flying somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
A camera.
Yes, absolutely.
A what?
A camera. Yeah. Camera to take pictures.
Oh, camera. Okay. I thought you said a canner at first, like an old P38, like can opener, kind of thing. No. So a camera, obviously, yeah. And what else?
No, we take.
Kind of losing you again. Bummer. Getting spotty signal again. Hopefully it catches up. Wait. There. I can hear. I heard a peep. Technology is winning today.
Problems are memories.
Yeah, I think it's.
There we go. All right. So I think that's the interwebs telling us. Yeah, I think that's the interwebs. Yeah, can you hear me?
Are we still there?
You guys still there? I can hear you.
Maybe. There we go. Yeah, we're still there. Maybe.
Yeah, it's super delayed. Oh man, that's real delayed now. I think that's the interwebs telling us that it's time to shut things down.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I think, yeah, it's just the lag. Who knows what's going on. But for all those listening, just wanted to say thank you to you guys both for taking the time to chat for a little while. Sorry, the technical difficulties. And I look forward to continually following you guys and seeing your adventures as families. Threw up their IG handles real quick. Looks like you guys caught up now. So yeah, good old technology. So, well, I'll give you guys last words before we shut it down.
Oh.
No, hey, I really appreciate it. GallantFew is awesome. We're going to continue to support the organization. If there's anything that we can do on our end, if there's anybody that wants to get into real estate or wants to know about, adventures and more about what we do, how we do it, why we do it, we're always welcome. Definitely send us a message.
I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love following you guys, and hopefully we can get together on an adventure. And yeah, I mean, let's plan something. I'd love always having other minds in place, to plan different stuff. We go up to Joshua Tree all the time. So yeah. Look forward to that. So again,
you climb, so you got to go to Moab, and you said Joshua, we can meet you there. Yeah, we'll definitely. I mean, sure.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys so much for being on. And as everybody, thank you for joining us every Wednesday at 3 p.m. I'm Bryce Mahoney, and we're out of here.